respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to WUB. And all the things that will feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play a role, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's the show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WUB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, this the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WUB. And all the things that will feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is the show my people. Believe our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, this the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WUB. And all the things that will feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place.
Good morning, Belize. Welcome to the WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Tuesday morning, the 3rd of March, 2026. I'm Mose, Hyde. I'm hosting today, and a warm welcome to everybody. You're listening to Creme Gray, watching XTV, beautiful. To those on our apps, we're glad you have them. To those on social media, it's a good choice. Simulcast people, welcome. We hope your morning is great. Your health is excellent. Your energy is high. Vibrations positive. You know, all the great stuff. And if it's not, we hope you have resilience. We hope you have stamina. We hope you have that kind of stick through it, make it through, be strong. All right. With that said, we are ready for another serving of Belize's premier morning conversation. And we've got the full time available, but we got a warm-ups. That means we got a bit of news for you that's provided by our news team before the news. We check in. We do a little morning check-in with the National Meteorological Service. The Met people will tell us what kind of weather we can expect today. So that's where we're going to start. We've got forecast of Derek We're and today's forecast.
Radar observations showed that shower activity was isolated last night, and relatively dry conditions over the region will support mainly fair weather today. The 24-hour forecast is for sunny skies with a few cloudy spells today and partly cloudy skies tonight. Showers will be isolated with the chance for a few more over the south tonight. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to northeast at 10 to 20 knots, and seas will be choppy. High temperatures today will be around 85 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 90 inland, but only 80 degrees up in the mountains. The outlook for Wednesday and Wednesday night is for similar weather conditions. There is a high tide at 10:12 this morning, and a low follows at 4:13 this evening. Another high comes up at 10:22 tonight, and another low at 4:49 tomorrow morning. Sunrise this morning is at 6:09 and sunset this evening is at a minute before 6. The moon goes down at 6:12 this morning and comes up again at 6:23 this evening. In the fire risk forecast, the risk for forest and brush fires will be low to moderate today. Finally, did anyone see the lunar eclipse last night? With that, we end this report from the Belize Weather Bureau.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Morning news. Last week, the Belize Communication Workers for Justice, the BCWJ, had written to the Prime Minister as they demand severance payments from Belize Telemedia Limited and interest on that severance. They wrote, where some former employees have already received 6% interest on severance payments, equity and fairness required that others in comparable circumstances receive the same treatment. Yesterday, the Prime Minister stated that BTL is prepared to pay 6% interest from the time of the CCJ judgment on November 5th, 2026 and 3% before that. He urged the former BTL employees to accept the offer. At last week's press conference, BTL did not mention the offer of 3% prior to the judgment.
I believe, though, even though BTL felt that with the payment that they give them at the end of when they start working, they believe that we need to respect the rights of all of our workers, and we felt, and our advice certainly to our board members was that that BTL should pay the severance. Why go to court? Might as well settle with them, and they agreed to make that recommendations. It's millions of dollars. It's a lot of money, and they're offering a 3%. Now the other group now is insisting on 6%. They are saying, BTL is saying, okay, we're prepared to give 6% since the judgment, but going back, we're only prepared to pay 3%. I think it's reasonable, and I urge all the BTL employees to sign up and to get their payments, and so we can close this chapter and move on.
CARICOM leaders agreed last week to assist Cuba, which is in crisis mode due to increased pressure by the United States since the start of the year. Asked about the form that Belize's assistance to Cuba will take, the Prime Minister on Monday stated that the country is to provide cash to Mexico for the purchase of food items. Mexico is already into its second humanitarian aid package to Cuba since the United States tightened the decades-old embargo on Havana and threatened tariffs on countries who would want to assist Cuba with oil.
Well, remember last year we said we were going to provide money to both Jamaica and to Cuba, and we have already managed to give the assistance to Jamaica. With Jamaica, what we did, we just sent the money for them so that they can decide what best they would need. Now with Cuba, what we have to do, we'll be working with we hope to be able to work with the Mexican government to be able to buy food, and then to be able to send it and to be able to assist the Cuban people.
And there's also Belizean students across there.
The Belizean students we have been in constant communications with them, both Minister Fonseca and Minister Bernard. The time when I did a state visit to Cuba, Minister Bernard was with us, and he set up a chat between the students that are studying medicines. So he's in constant communications with them. Pretty much every year on his initiative and other families and myself, we would buy a container load of goods of food that we would send for them for students so they can share, and we'll continue to do that. We're going to ensure that that they are safe, that they have access to food, and if at any time they believe that they want to come home, well, that's on them. But so far, all of the students have been saying that they want to stay in Cuba. They like being there, and they want to continue to stay in university to be able to finish the studies that they've been doing in Cuba.
Officials from the Ministry of Transport met Monday afternoon with representatives of the Belize Bus Association. Ahead of the meeting, we asked the President Philip Jones if the ministry had already indicated what would be the cost to non-MBC members to use the existing bus terminals. Jones complained that they have not been kept abreast as they should and informed that they no longer have a representative on the transport board as they used to. We also got a response from Minister Louis Abane.
The Bus Association, unfortunately, we do not have a representation, and the nation we are not privy to because we do not have no one sitting on the transport board, which I'm the president. Normally the president would sit up there.
Mr. Shah was there before, right? Though?
Mr. Shah stepped down in 2025 in September, and I was elected as the new president. I had sent letter to the media and to the minister and to the transport board requesting that the members had voted and the executive had voted that they requested me to be a sitting member on the transport board so I can share the information with the bus association. But since then, I have not been privy or I'm privileged to assign members to the transport board. And I was told that he was satisfied with who he has sitting at the board at the time, and I am not a sitting member on the transport board since September.
No, technically that wouldn't be accurate because remember now that the National Bus Company is a bus operator now on its own rights, and Mr. Shah is a shareholder of that company. So he's a owner of the National Bus Company, and so as such he represents an operator, and that's what the legislation calls for with respect to the governance, right, of the sector.
Do you consider, though, that with the changes now, the other parts, the other members should be represented, get a seat?
No, we believe in representation. So that's part of the discussion. We haven't come to that point yet, but I'm sure we will discuss that with them.
When we asked the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Anthony Richard Osado, for an update on Monday in relation to the credit card fraud reports in the BPO sector, he noted that they are unable to move forward without the credit card owners coming forward as the complainants. However, before we could ask about filing charges of obtaining property by deception, his staff officer whisked him away.
Well, it's a complicated, challenging investigation because it does not have root only in Belize. So it's an extremely challenging investigation, and our investigation are trying to gather as much information as they can to bring the perpetrators them to justice.
What's the most challenging aspect of it?
Because many of the incidents trace back to outside the country of Belize.
And so that requires some outside intervention. The reports tell us.
Remember the complainants, them. Majority of them are from outside Belize.
And they would have to come into...
We would need a complainant report.
Outside of that, are there any other laws or regulations that the authorities can look at?
We are investigating it from within what has transpired within the institution, and we are trying to see what evidential material we can put together to bring those individuals to justice.
How
financial crimes, the Belize Police Department have always engaged our counterparts, the Financial Intelligence Unit.
And is that the case with this one?
Like I mentioned, in all financial crimes, we have engaged the FIU.
Creme Radio XTV.
Informative, accurate, current information. Crem's newscast. Local, regional, and international news. Weather and sports.
Amandala is now online. You can now access Amandala's midweek and weekend issues online by logging on to our website at amandala.com.bz/news. and joining our membership portal today. There's 5 easy steps to get unlimited access to weekly e-paper, archive publications, and archived areas. Number 3, choose a membership level. Number 4, check out using our secured portal. Number 5, log into the members only section. Telephone numbers 501-280-4703 or 202-4477. Fax us at 501-222-4702, or you could email at amandalapress@yahoo.com or amandalapress@gmail.com. Amandala, all power to the people.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone? Better.
It's Tuesday morning, and we're back. 3rd of March 2026. I'm Mose, Hyde, and it's my morning to host, as well as tomorrow morning. And we want to welcome you to our conversation. And we want to double underscore conversation because that's what we want it to be. Now, we can't do it without you. So no one person conversation exists. We need more one, and that's why we have the phone here. The line is 280-5848. We love when you call in. We love when you talk. That's just what we do here. Weekday mornings on Creme Radio and on XTV. So make sure this phone make noise all morning long. We love it. All right. Now, one other thing, if we have things that we to talk about, don't feel in any way confined to talk about that. It could be a big thing, could be a small thing, could be a serious matter, it could be a light matter. Be flexible. Every conversation is important. And so, feel comfortable, no stress, call in. If you never do it before, try it. You will be surprised. Good vibes always, all right? This is what we do. The WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. And while we wait for you to call in, of course, we can't left dead here, so we will, talk.
The entire broadcast that the communication workers are being asked to take 3% interest and not 6%. Am I right?
So, via the press conference by representatives of BTL last week, they were being asked to take 6% after the ruling and no interest before the ruling. And then the Prime Minister I was just kind of giving you the full...
Yeah, but you said, am I understanding you said before the ruling and after the ruling?
Yeah, BTL expressed that they feel like there is a difference from their legal interpretation, and that they were only willing to offer the 6% post the ruling of November 25th.
If you come along now and adjust the ruling, aren't you then acting as though you are a court beyond the court that gave the final ruling?
Well, what you're doing is what you're doing is that you're using might, because you are then, even though from my understanding the ruling is the ruling, you can't circumvent it, but
you can't appeal it either. You've gone to the final court of appeal, right?
But what you're doing is, in this case, the government, they are in a position of might, because we have seen this play out with ruling from the CCJ as it relates to the Mayan land case. So the CCJ rules, but on a matter like this, it's not like when there is a ruling, say at the Supreme Court, and they have maybe a bailiff, and then they will use the police to then maybe what the term used, crowfoot, if you are delaying on complying with a ruling. The CCJ has made a ruling, and we are absolutely right to say the government is duty bound to fulfill the ruling and comply with the ruling. But then, in the event that they don't, what they're doing now is now forcing the farmer employees to say, well, we have to now go back to the court to try to get the government to comply the way it's supposed to comply. And we have seen that again in the Maya land case. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, of course it is, Mose. This is just the reason that Belizeans, part of the reason that Belizeans are so hesitant. I'm not going to say now cowardly, hesitant to lend their support to these kinds of undertakings, these kinds of problems, because they know deep in their soul that they're trailed down the road. The people they are being called upon to support will be asked to choose between courage and betrayal, and will very likely choose betrayal. And then you who supported them are left exposed to the total wrath of the
But it's not my understanding.
directorate.
But it's not my understanding that the communication workers are accepting the 3%.
I think I understood that they haven't yet said yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that is the reason the Belizean populace as a whole are very hesitant to give support to anything Mose, because so often they are betrayed and they are left totally exposed, and then they come under the wrath of the political directorate. Isn't that so?
Yeah, I wanted to speak on I think another thing that it does is that it discourages people from feeling like they can really get true justice via the courts.
But that's the point. That is just the point. If we have agreed that this court is the final court of appeal, beyond that there is no appeal, just as there is no. So then, if we go to the ICJ and Guatemala does not abide by the ruling, we should not be surprised. We should not have a problem with that, because we routinely in this country do not comply with the highest court that our land subscribes to. We shouldn't be upset if the Guatemalans don't comply with the ICJ. We agree that the ICJ is the last court we can go to on the matter of boundaries. So we go there and they give a ruling. Guatemala doesn't like the ruling. They decide and do what they want. And we don't have no reason to get upset, because we do exactly that within the national territory of this country. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel that I feel like one of the challenges of the former employees, and it's what I wanted to speak about this morning, is to make a case of what the victory is. A victory in dollars and cents, yes, but it's an incredible victory, and one that belongs to the people, and they have to feel connected to it. No, I'm not disagreeing with your point that there is I say people are cautious, people are distrustful, and they have a right to be. But I've thought about this, and I have not said it on air, that to face, according to what the report, and I have not heard it disputed, to face $23 million worth of money spent. So these group of workers who took on this case faced an immense opponent that had $23 million to fight them. And let's say it's us that, they have education, they have people in engineering and all of that, and generally speaking, the people who have worked, they are not saying they are rich or anything like that, but they are not low income. But they decided, no, but you are whatever, I did my time, but what you are giving me is not according to law. And
operate on case law. Operate on case law. Operate on common law. You see, go ahead.
So to try to finesse the ruling and to play that you have room to negotiate the ruling.
Exactly, that is exactly the issue here, Mose. They are turning this thing into a negotiation when that is a peremptory ruling. That is a ruling to be complied with because the CCJ analyzed the law to be a social justice law. It is much more, and so the government, because it must always win. You see, this is the problem with the political directorate with Mose. I have, not only in this country, they must always win. And if they may let you look like you win a little bit, but at the end of the day, when you negotiate away anything to them, you open the door for what happened with globalization. That is how that door became open. Because there are some things to be negotiated and there are some things never to be negotiated. And working class across the planet, especially in the developed countries, they, in seeking better and more just returns for themselves, use this concept of collective bargaining, not realizing that concept is a concept that really instructions to yield to the employer. Technically it is. And in the end, what happened? They removed the labor from all the developed countries to the cheap labor areas of the world where no unions exist, nobody negotiates, you got heavy-handed, and left the working class in the developed countries out of particularly the United States. That is what they are fighting there. And so the working class in the United States, they never liked unions. When you started the unionism in America, not to mention the fact that the mafia, the Italian mafia, came to control unions and all of that. So all of that is what has led to the present historical moment. And in Belize, I think more that they should stick to the
that was made. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly so. Doesn't make any sense at all.
No, what you could have done.
It makes sense when you're using power, you see. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an exercise in power that's going on right now. It's an exercise in power because I know several people who are entitled to this, but were not even. They were like, we get chance, okay, and it's gone in their minds. So and then they don't have any leverage, for example, to withhold their services because they are retired. So unlike if they were on active duty, they would have greater leverage. So power is now seeing they're saying, okay, we could actually tell you, well, do your next best. You know that we are saying at the when they say don't that wrong, right? There's somebody they do you wrong, and it's okay. Well, you do your next best. That's essentially in the face of a ruling from the highest court in the land.
And more that they can do that because the current working force, not only in BTL, doesn't understand the link between them and those who are retired. They don't understand it. If they really understood it, they would understand that a retired working force has to be supported as being a part of a continuum. They don't understand that they are linked to those. One day they will be retired. And when they will want justice, they won't get it because they were not around and available and disposed.
You're looking at your future self.
Exactly. Well put. You're looking at your future self, and you can't see that. Then you can't see. As everybody who knows me, I join very few things. Precisely because of that. Because I'm a child, I don't negotiate. I don't negotiate. Not on my freedom. No. That's not you. But my parents were allowed to tell you the headache they had with me as a little girl. You don't negotiate with me. You don't promise me something and we put it down in black and white and then you turn and change the black and white on me and I don't understand why you change. No, that don't work at all. And I think taking it now beyond this country to the middle
countries that have naval bases, countries that have naval bases,
military bases.
U.S. Those who have who have been who they announce the thing. The Emirates they play two sides. You know they've been
exactly.
They've been cute. And Iran has said, okay, we will attack the cute. That's the offense that you're speaking of, no?
Yes, that is what I'm
They're making it costly for the aggressors.
Costly and a liability to have certain love affairs, right?
Yeah.
Costly and prepared to go down on that. Belizeans, Caribbean people that take a page of. I was unaware, I just learned something today, this morning, that apparently Mr. Putin had some press conference where he revealed that the Russians had assets, both technological and human assets in Venezuela. Were you aware of that? That he had such a press conference?
No, I'm aware that they had some kind of, that they might have had personnel there, but I didn't.
And technological assets. While they had that, that's not their country, so they can't make the decisions of whether you will betray or not betray your country. And if the natives choose to betray themselves, then that's the choice they make. And we in the Caribbean and we in Belize, we need to grow up, because this is exactly, look, what you think they're trying to do with BTL, turn it into a monolith. By creating a monolith, a monopoly becomes a monolith, then that will determine the wage rates. You're not going to interfere with them at the beginning, because the new order expects to get the cheapest wage rates possible in order to subsidize their financial recovery. Would you agree on that, Mose?
Are you talking on a global, or are you just talking on a global? On a global, yes.
Yes, they got cheap wage rates. They had children working in the factories in Bangladesh, dreadful working conditions. But they got the cheap wage rates, and so what technically was happening was a transfer of wealth from the poor countries again to these people. We were transferring wealth. And you think that's bad? They have decided they need an additional transfer now. So all of us in the Caribbean, we are going to become the offshore workers now.
Well,
they are not going to deal with East Asia. Pardon? What you saying?
Yeah, well, you have to factor in the reality of AI impact on employment, the employment outlook. And the first set of people who are being pushed aside are some of the brightest, most educated people. The people who do the programming and the coding have come out to say, we are the first casualties. Think of us as the canary in the mine. These companies are now realizing that we are expendable, and they are moving us out. So that's 2026. That's what's going on here. And
yeah, that's well put. Yes, that's what we are doing. Because what is going to happen is that quality and excellence will go through the window. That will not matter. Because when you remove the layer of society concerned with quality and excellence, and you have all the rest of the people down crushed at the bottom, those people crushed at the bottom will be so desperately dealing with survival, they don't have no time to be concerned about excellence and quality. That will not be part of their concern. And AI will deliver non-excellent material, non-quality material. It will deliver that. But they will not be in a position to recognize it. And even if they recognize it, they're damn sure not going to be able to deal with it because survival, just their survival will be their concern. That is where we are heading. And that's why this whole matter, all this matter of the retired DTL workers and the current monopoly creating situation, all of this is part of a bigger plan. Not conspiracy. This is no conspiracy. This is what is playing out before our very eyes. You know, Mose, some years ago, it's a case study that's taught in global studies. One of the American auto companies had gone to UK, established a factory, and when the whole situation with worker demands and uprising and the struggle between the Thatcher government and Labour and so, well, when the thing was going in favor of the workers, the company picked itself up one day and decided, I don't remember if it moved to Germany or one of the European countries, just picked up and moved, literally picked up and moved. Literally. Because they did not like the demands that Labour was being, that had been, Labour's demands that had been met in the UK. So the pattern has been set, and we don't understand that this is what is being fought out now. It's all being fought out right out there.
Would mean that law and order and stability, as it's presently constructed in Iran, is not going to be present, and what will exist there is what existed in Libya, what existed in Syria,
I don't agree necessarily with you, Mose. I can see the possibility of that, but Iran is a totally different proposition.
I concede that.